Maybe the reason I love walking slowly into a new year and why it feels to me like such a deep exhale is because December tends to ask a lot of us. The holidays, they fill our calendars with gatherings and activities, and it's all wonderful. But by the time Christmas passes, I'm usually ready for slower days. Christmas Eve is when our immediate family gathers for a meal and to open gifts. And one of my favorite things to do is to create something for each person who will be around the table. So this year I decided to paint an ornament for each place setting, and I had done that a few years ago and it ended up being a special keepsake for people. So I worked on the ornaments in between my regular work during the day and a few evenings, but as the days quickly passed and the list of things still needing to be done grew longer, I could start to feel that familiar pressure building inside of me. And the pressure intensified when I would think of one particular task that would involve a glue gun and me meticulously attaching a tiny gold string to loop on each ornament to be able to hang it. And I remember thinking I should ask one of my daughters who lives nearby to run over and help me with this, as she's had much experience with a glue gun and could probably knock it out a lot quicker than I would. And just as I was deciding that I would reach out to her for help, another thought interrupted that one. A thought that said, no, you actually need to do it. And I knew immediately why this thought popped to my head. Younger me would have been in such a state of forward motion that I would just have rushed right by that thought. But I've gotten better at listening to my body and quickly connected several things I know to be true. One of them being that, yes, there was still a grocery list to finish, things that needed to be shopped for, gifts that still needed to be wrapped. But that wasn't the only thing I felt like I was running out of time on. Mixed in with all of that were other thoughts, the ones swirling around in between questions like, what plates do I want to use? And how many more Christmases will our dads be here? Thoughts about what it looks like and feels like to keep opening my heart and my life to welcome new people around the table and into our family. So yeah, all of that. All those things layered underneath and in between reminders like, don't forget the rosemary and the fresh Parmesan. And all of it together was keeping my heart and mind racing. And yet, here in the busyness of it all was the whisper to slow down. So I stopped. I sat down and I picked up each ornament. And as I held them in my hands one by one, something in me began to settle. I was reminded what mattered most in the midst of memories of Christmases past, hopes for this one, and a quiet pressure for it all to feel meaningful. And in that slowing, I was gently reminded of what mattered most. Not in words, but in presence. I could feel myself returning to what was already there, alive inside of me, letting it shape each small movement, each name written, each careful mark. And it reminded me of something that I'm still learning. Solitude is not a word I naturally gravitated toward. In fact, it's a word and a practice I ran from most of my life. My mom even teased my husband about this when we were getting married because I was always on the go. I never wanted the party to stop. I never wanted the people to go home. Anything to avoid being by myself. I always thought it was because I loved people. And I did. And I still do. I liked to have fun. And you know what? That was part of it. But maybe not even the biggest part. The truth is, I didn't want to be alone with myself. I probably would have argued with you if you'd suggested that back then. Because as strange as it sounds, I thought I was a pretty fun person to be around. Maybe a little dramatic at times, but overall a good time. But looking back now, I can see that stillness and quiet scared me more than I wanted to admit. I'm not fully sure if I chose solitude or if solitude chose me. I think it was the latter, because for most of my life, I had a real aversion to slowing down, to getting quiet, to being still long enough to hear what was underneath all the noise. So you might be surprised to know that solitude is one of my favorite ways to live these days. In solitude, I fall in love even more deeply with the God that I fell asleep thinking about as a child. This God who is more than I can even comprehend, desires to be in relationship with me and with you. And in the quiet, he reminds me of his thoughts about me. And those thoughts breathe life into my soul. And it's here, in this sacred space of solitude, that I am changed. Not by doing more, not by becoming more, but by being still enough to hear who I've always been to him.